On Good Friday, Sir Keir Starmer attended Jesus' house in Brent to praise the congregation for their work in rolling out the vaccine programme and running food banks. Now, you'd be mistaken for thinking that's canny of them. Surely no one could possibly grumble at this church serving its local community. Well, you'd be wrong. No sooner had Sir Keir scuttled out of the church to go back to sitting on the fence on everything but the coronavirus restrictions. For those, he appears to be taking the Conservative Party whip. But no sooner had he left that church was he pounced upon by Twitter's priggish prats who declared the visit meant he had zero integrity. The Labour campaign for LGBT rights, which, to be quite honest with you, I'm not sure why such a group needs to exist in 2021. What rights in the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland haven't been secured for gay men and women? This group said the visit was unacceptable all the same. And then, like clockwork, we were able to watch it happen, folks. Far from Sir Keir standing by his high praise for this church and its work done in that community, he capitulated to the mob and apologised for visiting it in the first place because of its socially conservative views, also known as Christian doctrine. The Guardian had an article. It was titled, "Sir Keir Starmer criticised over visit to church where pastor opposed same-sex marriage." Well, yes, The Guardian, same-sex marriage is incompatible with the Christian doctrine. If Christians demanded Sir Keir avoided Prince Charles, our future head of the Church of England, because in confessing to adultery with Camilla, he had gone against Christian faith, would Sir Keir Starmer then boycott the future monarch? If Sir Keir Starmer stumbled upon a copy of the Quran anytime soon and discovered that actually many imams are opposed to same-sex marriage too, will he stop visiting mosques? There won't be a peep, of course, or any demands whatsoever for him to explain himself for visiting any Islamic institution that believes that being gay is sinful. Will Jewish places of worship be boycotted just to really level that old playing field? The reality is, folks, right, that same-sex marriage is officially opposed by most religions. But why has Sir Keir allowed the mob to force him to throw Jesus' house under the bus? There's an inherent, I think, arrogance, actually, by much of these activists that seem to suggest that what they want trumps all. Their rights, my rights, are more important than your right to worship and believe and have your faith and all of the rest of it. That their views and beliefs are obviously just a hell of a lot more important and virtuous and morally just than what the Christians that attend Jesus' house in Brent believe. And I say this, by the way, folks, as a Christian and a gay man. I supported same-sex marriage. I think the institution of marriage is an important one, and that married couples, equal pension rights and all of the rest of it contribute much to wider society. But I also recognise that my church forbids same-sex marriage, and that's fine. I don't refuse to engage with my church. I don't renounce my faith. I don't refuse to engage with those that I disagree with on this issue, and no rational or sane person could argue that this tolerant approach makes us homophobic either. In deciding that feelings matter more than facts, in deciding that looking good matters more than doing good, in placing Twitter hashtags above actually delivering for those who don't dedicate much of their day looking for something to be upset about, in taking the knee not just to the Black Lives Matter movement, but to the perpetually offended too, Sir Keir has set a horrible precedent for his already, let's be honest, lackluster leadership. Every person he now meets, make no mistake, that has views that the mob doesn't like will be seized upon. He will spend the rest of his time as leader of the opposition apologising for meeting with so-and-so because they had a certain view that Twitter obsessives didn't agree with, or some socially conservative view that they've decided is beyond the pale and beyond reproach and all the rest of it. And what does that mean for speech and debate if the leader of the opposition refuses to engage with people because actually the mob do not support the views of those he potentially meets with? Why did Sir Keir find it so easy to denounce a church he had only just said was a wonderful example of a church serving its community? And I noticed that, the same figures couldn't as quickly denounce the threat to a teacher and the protests outside of Batley Grammar School that actually saw the school close for the showing of a supposedly blasphemous cartoon in a classroom. In a country that, let's not forget, doesn't have blasphemy laws. Politicians, I think, should be taking on the permanently and professionally offended. I'd say that Sir Keir should stick to his day job, but in particular, if you look in Parliament, he's taken the Conservative Party's whip, and it's clear from his pathetic apologies that in all other realms, he's denounced the church to instead take the whip of the altar of the woke. I'm Darren Grimes, who's hoping that the opposition can find their backbone for Reasoned UK. Reasoned relies upon grassroots donations from people like yourself that want us to continue producing our high quality, free thinking content. So please do consider clicking the link and donating, no matter how big, no matter how small, because it really does ensure that we can keep on keeping on.